presence. All of these concepts are part of a whole. So presence and grounding go together. All right, so, if you are not grounded, you're not present. And one way of being not present is to be split off into the head. So most people are just only, a head, basically just a head. And the body is nothing but something to carry them around. And that's a lot of people. And I told you I live in the South Bay. 50% of my practice are couples. They walk in, they sit down, and the husband says, "I'm an engineer." You know what that means. I'm a head. That's it, And so, and it's not just engineers, but they are so split off into the head. If you ask them, what are you aware of in their bodies, they don't understand the question. Seriously, it's to the point of being on the autism spectrum, which I actually think they may be. I'm not medical model, so I don't really use psychiatric labels. I'm a Gestalt therapist. I am process-oriented. But that's how sometimes I think in my head, to tell you the truth. It's just they're so not there. Now that's an extreme. But there are a lot of people that I get them and I just try to work with the sensory awareness. Just tell me what you're aware of, and they can report a lot of external. I can hear the fan, I can hear the birds singing. I have to guide them towards sensation. They're not even aware of sensation. Well, are you warm or are you cold? Do you feel any tension in your body? Well, most people, and now I'm moving toward containment, most people will feel pain or tension, because that's the easiest thing to feel. They don't feel any subtleties of sensation at all. So when I ask someone, what do you feel? I'm not looking for them to tell me emotion. I feel sad. Well, I don't want to know that, because that's an abstraction. So if they say that, I want to say to them, where do you feel that? Well, they wouldn't know anyway, but if they did know, they might say, oh, in my throat or in my chest or even in my eyes, that would be getting close. Then I might want to say, well, describe what that feels like. Get specificity, right? Did I say that right? Be specific, that's easier. And then I would say, well, they might say their throat feels tight, or they might say it feels like a boulder on their chest. Well, I can work with that. I can have them do any kind of thing with getting their chest to move, using breath, using movement, using release techniques. I don't do a lot of touching, I have to say, not because I think someone's going to accuse me of molesting them, but because I think it's invasive, and because pretty much I only use touch for awareness, and I like to teach them to learn how to do it themselves. It's that old Chinese proverb, teach a man to fish and, he can eat for the rest of his life. Sometimes I help them I might say, I say to them, put your hand on your chest, now make your chest move by breathing. Like take a deep breath and make your own hand move. And that's better than me doing. So pretty much, I get them to do it themselves. I tell them, just because it helps them, sometimes I say, I'm going to teach you how to do Reiki on yourself. And they sort of understand a little bit when I say that. Okay, so usually they're going to feel something that's pain or tension. But then if they actually, can feel that, I can maybe get them to feel something underneath that. like movement of some sort. Or, sometimes they can feel their heartbeat or some kind of pulsation or circulation or vibration, and so what I do is I train them bit by bit by bit to get into their body and get to feel sensations. So that's number one, to get present. Can you feel sensations in your body? And then I teach them, do you feel your breath moving your body? Where do you feel the breath happening in your body? I don't try to tell them how to breathe. First, observe your breath. Where do you feel your breath happening? That's mindfulness. Just observe the breath. Don't change it. What is it like? Where does your body move when you breathe? What does the breath feel like? Observe it. Don't judge it. Is it shallow? Is it deep? Is it short? Is it long? What's the inhale like? What's the exhale like? I'm a Gestalt therapist originally. Well, originally I was a dance movement therapist. That's how when I found out that being a DTR wasn't a license, I had to go back and get another bachelor's degree and another 2 more degrees to get a license. But that's why I stayed with the body, because that was my original work, was from dance. So I'm very process oriented, and Gestalt, it's like, it is what it is. And if you don't stay with what is, you can't change it. You have to first know what is. So from there, then, we can work with, okay, I look at their process, the way they breathe, and the way they do whatever they do in the session is the way they do their life. And it always is. It always is. They're either working too hard or, and I might just say to them, boy, you really push, don't you? And then all of a sudden it's like the river, Oh, that's what I do, everywhere. And it is. And I don't need, to have them tell me they do that, because that's what they do right there in front of me.